So 2 million people in Houston have been without water since yesterday. Reminder, water is life. We know this, I know it's so obvious, but I need to underscore this, bold this, underline it, message in the bottle, smoke signals, whatever you gotta do, you need to remember this. There's a saying, Mr. Water to the well runs dry, but too many wells are running dry across this country because of poison in the water, an infrastructure that does not support people having clean water in the United States of America. WTF all the way. So here's the areas in Houston impacted by the water crisis. We're gonna put this up, this map, you see it? Yeah, many people impacted by this. And even if it was 5 people, same thing applies. But look at this, it is a failure of government. Now, schools were closed on Monday and many businesses were shut down for the day, but that doesn't mean that the damage is not already done. The public was advised to bring water to a boil for at least 2 minutes before using it for drinking, cooking, bathing, and brushing teeth. Children, seniors, and people with weakened immune systems are particularly vulnerable to harmful bacteria. But all water customers were advised to follow these directions in 2022 in the United States of America. And this is indeed a water emergency. Now, it is likely to get fixed. We hope so, that it will get fixed. But remember, in many areas of this country, people are still without clean water, are subject. This is fragile. It could be you. It's Houston now, but it could be you. And we must care about this. And a lot of this has to do with government mismanagement. So remember that in Jackson, Mississippi, 150,000 residents are without clean water. And Jackson experienced a major failure of its water plant after heavy flooding. The failure highlighted long-standing problems with Jackson's water due to a crumbling and neglected infrastructure, including an ailing water plant and aging pipes that city and state leaders have long known about and failed to properly maintain. And this is not about something that happened overnight. This is decade after decade after decade after decade, and then here we are. And why isn't it fixed? Well, we have a few guesses about that. The EPA opened a federal civil rights investigation over this crisis affecting a city that is 83% African American. Baby, if you're asking me, does it have anything to do with caste and class? Oh yeah, very much so. And let us not forget Flint, because Flint is the canary in the coal mine where the water was filled with lead. Let's take a look at this headline. We found dozens of uncounted deaths during the Flint water crisis, and here's how. And so we know that the Legionnaire's disease outbreak during the water crisis in Flint, Michigan, was one of the largest in US history, sickening at least 90 people and killing 12. People are getting sick, people are dying, and we know what lead does to children over the long haul. It's not just a one and done. If they are impacted by lead poisoning, it can impact them for the rest of their natural lives. This is serious business. And let's put up this graph. Results for the presence of lead and copper are on the rise again in Flint, Michigan. So it is not over for Flint. This is an ongoing horror story, nightmare, what is happening to Flint. And of course, climate change definitely, or climate chaos, plays a role in this. Let's take a look at Rutgers today. Soil could be affected by climate change impacting water and food. So now we got 1 + 1, water and food. See, all of these things go together. They're cyclical, they go together, they fit. You cannot have one crisis without another crisis. So our water, our food, and we might as well just go ahead and throw the air in there too, Ray. They didn't say anything about the air, but that's in the circle of life as well. Ray, your thoughts?
Yeah, so one thing this story got me thinking about was I know that I've heard a lot of times that Chicago has some of the most lead pipe usage in the United States still. So I Googled it because there's a little map where you can check to see if your building has lead pipes. And mine does, my entire neighborhood does. And I live in a predominantly non-white neighborhood, a predominantly like low income neighborhood. But you can see pretty much directly on this map where the rich neighborhoods are, there are no lead pipes. There's no lead pipes, and the further south you go, further west you go, the more and more lead pipe usage there is. And this is a huge problem, but it's not like they haven't known the damage that lead does to the body. I mean, the Clean Air Act of 1970 included lead. I mean, that was a whole, you were just mentioning keeping the air clean. That was a whole mission of that act, was to get lead out of the ambient air so people weren't inhaling lead. But when you're drinking water that's traveling through lead pipes, you're still ingesting lead. And when you sit and think about it, it really just is. It's not profitable to replace these things, because we have water here provided for free for the city of Chicago residents. So they're not making money by keeping you healthy necessarily. There's no industry that's going to come in and want to do it. And so it's really sad. But if it was profitable, they would give a crap about our lives, but they don't. They can't. There's no money to be made in saving lives. So it's just depressing. It's depressing.
It really is. And government has one job when it comes to clean water. Just make sure that the water is clean. And we just got notification that the boil ban in Houston has been lifted. So that is indeed a good thing. That still does not mean that this entire saga is over. It just means that the boil ban has been lifted. So let's not shout for joy just yet. We got a water crisis in the United States because infrastructure has not been taken care of over the decades. And the chickens are coming home to roost when it comes to that lack of investment. We will definitely continue to watch what is happening or report on what is happening when it comes to water and lack of clean water.